Sometimes the world looks like you ain't ever seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows, all you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to slay another day? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jessica, is it a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare podcasting with you? I'm not quite sure, but
Somewhere in between. Neither.
here we
both.
are.
Both.
Here we are.
Mhm.
Yeah, even Beyonce wouldn't be able to put up with some of the shit that goes down in this episode when it comes to nightmares. Now, Jessica, I know that you are very frail and you get nightmares often.
Just red for filth within a minute of the podcast starting. I know that you're a frail little bird who can't handle nightmares. So tell me more.
You suffer from night terrors.
I do. Yeah, I do. I do have nightmares frequently.
Were you okay watching this?
Wasn't my favorite thing. But like I get it. Like I get the like existential dread, certainly. Yeah, but you know what, Sarah, I brought in someone else who maybe can just, I don't know, make us feel better, possibly. If you would be nice to him, he'd probably make us feel better more often. But his name is Stuart, and here he is. Hi, Stuart.
Hello. The fever dream continues. Hello.
I've gotten some complaints in the last couple of weeks that I am mean, which is unfortunate.
It's just bullying, Sarah. It's just what it is. It's just bullying.
I'm bullying everybody.
The thing is, you can't say shitty things about a person that's going to listen to the podcast, especially if they're going to guest later on, because then you've been like, Stuart, who is Stuart? Never knew him, even though, you know, we have like one British friend.
I could have more than one British friend.
I don't think you do. I really
could.
don't think you do. You could, but you
Barney.
don't. Okay. I mean, he's your coworker. I don't know, you know.
And friend. He pulled through. He got me a birthday gift card because everybody else at work forgot my birthday except June, who is, why am I saying these people's names?
I don't know.
Okay, everybody forgot my birthday, and Barney pulled through and got me a good old gift card for my B-Day. So thank you, Barney. He is a true British friend, just like Stuart.
Also, I question the legitimacy of that claim, but sure.
I am sick and tired. Stuart, I'm going to be your advocate here. You are more than a British accent and a cup of tea. I am so sick and tired of us equating your worth to all things British. So, of course, when we were talking about like, oh, Giles is boring because he has a British accent and he makes me sleepy, I didn't even think about you, because when I think about Stuart, I think about a billion things other than the fact that you're
like what?
Like you're British, that he has a little brother that he likes to beat up, that he lives in an apartment and is about to move, that
Mhm.
he is creative and is great at graphics, that he is actually surprisingly tall because, like, I mean, you're tall. Like, you're tall.
Am I?
No.
Oh, Stuart is like very much relatively average height.
Yeah, tall.
I mean, I'd like to just see if you have any gauge of like how tall I actually
I'm pretty
am,
sure I
just
know
out of
exactly how tall
curiosity.
you are. Let's see if
5'10".
Sarah knows. 5'10". I
Okay,
think
yeah,
he's
dead on.
5'9".
No, 5'10".
5'10".
well,
So
there you
guess
go.
who knows Stuart more? I'm just saying that Stuart, you are more than
I'm
the
not
first
under fire
person-
for being rude to Stuart, so
Well,
I can
maybe
know
you
him as
should.
little
I
as
feel like I know more information than you. I know Stuart's birthday. It's on my birthday calendar, and it's in December. And as long as I pull up my calendar, I'll have that
Mhm,
date.
mhm, mhm.
Speaking
And
of birthdays, how was yours?
oh my god, my birthday was so great. I had a great birthday. I um did all the things I loved and spent time with a person that I really do love, and it was all good. We went to the botanical gardens because I love plants and I wanted to do that. And there was this dome that was when you entered, it felt like a tropical paradise. Like, it was very, very
Mm.
good, and there was like plants everywhere. It was like you were in the middle of the jungle, and it was very cool. There was waterfalls, and like, it was amazing, very cool.
We did that recently. We went to like a little butterfly sanctuary, and it was humid as anything. But we had gone from like 5 degrees Celsius outside into an environment that was like mid 30s, and it
Yeah.
just hit us. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
anyone who wears glasses that does that, you know the pain of what I'm
Yeah,
going to say. It
Adam,
just
thankfully
steams up immediately.
thankfully I was wearing contacts, but yeah, Adam's glasses fogged up. It was really, really cool. And I got to see a monstera, which everybody who knows me, I have a beloved monstera that is being held hostage by my ex, but it's not because he won't give it to me. It's because no movers move plants. It is
So that's not exactly being held hostage, Sarah.
it's being held hostage by the state of New Jersey, since
There you go.
you can't take plants from one state to another. No mover will do it.
Brutal.
I think the fact that you have to employ a mover to do it, because it's such a huge monstera as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I've seen it in the background of
Yeah.
like videos. It's huge.
It's big, but
Yeah.
it now lives in New Jersey, and I do not know how I'm going to get it over here. That could be a birthday gift for
There you
for
go.
the future. But no. It's not being held hostage by my ex. That was that was a little mean.
Yeah, it was. Let's talk nightmares because we're probably here to talk Buffy. Season 1,
Oh, yeah.
episode 10. I mean, sometimes. We start off with like what I felt like was a pretty obvious nightmare, that there was just like no case in which this was real, where Buffy is down in the master's lair looking at his blood jacuzzi, wandering around, and then there comes the master, and he's got her. She's like terrified of him. He's like grabbing her by the neck with his he needs to cut his nails. Like, I'm so sorry. I know he's been down there for 3 score, but like, someone bring him nail clippers. You know what I mean? I just can't. I can't with the long nails. They're gross. Okay, that's fine. I'll just do the podcast by myself. No big deal. Anyway, moving on from that scene, Buffy wakes up. Her mom says, "You have to get to school. Wake up."
This was really bad. Like the whole like shuffling in the bed and be like, no. It was like, there's bad acting on this show, but like very rarely is it actually Sarah Michelle Gellar that is the like source of it.
Yeah.
And this was just like, come on, like at least believe that you're having a nightmare.
I felt like Buffy was a little broken this episode, and maybe because she was just really bothered by the maybe she was like very upset and nervous about her dad coming, but I just felt like she like, I don't know, like she wasn't like on top of her game this episode. Like, I feel as though there's some instances where Buffy would have been able to tell in like a second that like what was going on, especially when she starts to realize that like everyone's having these types of dreams, but she like it did not click this episode. So I felt like it was interesting.
I think it was because it was like a mental fuck up. You know what I mean? It was like they were fucking with her mental state. So I think it's a little less obvious than like someone is attacking you physically. It's like, well, I could see that. I know what to expect. I know how to handle that. I don't think she was expecting to be fucked with mentally. And when you're having a situation where you don't know what's true and what's fake, like that, gosh, that's a lot. On top of the fact that, like you said, Sarah, her dad's coming to visit. This is the first that we've heard anything about her dad. I think we speculated a little bit on like where he is. And it turns out that he comes and visits some weekends. He's still in LA. So it seems like, so they've been separated for a while. And Stuart, I guess that like they both lived in LA, and then when Buffy got kicked out of the last school and they moved, her dad just stayed in LA rather than moving to the town that they lived in.
Seems to be the case, but then also like kind of, I don't think she's moved that far away, has she? Like they moved out of LA and like Sunnydale's still like California.
Fair, but
California's,
anything
like,
when you're trying to travel around LA, add like 2 hours onto your commute. You know what I mean? So it's probably not like that many miles or kilometers, but time-wise, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I really was excited to hear a little bit more about Buffy's family backstory, and because like we really didn't know at all about what was going on with her dad. Like I think that we were told at one point that she's a child of divorce, but I didn't really know more. And I think it's interesting. Like, so this happened like a couple of years ago, this divorce. I think that probably happened once Buffy was like really full force as a Slayer and like shit was going down, unless she was a troublemaker before she was a Slayer. Now,
I don't think so. I don't think she got into trouble before being a Slayer. I think it was being a Slayer has forced her to kind of skip school and do all these other things she maybe didn't
right,
normally
because she
do.
used to be a cheerleader. Now, Stuart, have you Buffy'd before, or is this your first Buffy? Yeah, you have.
Yes, so I watched it like when it first came out. It was like kind of the routine is like you'd watch a trashy Australian soap by the name of Neighbours, and then Buffy would be on like pretty much immediately afterwards, and then you'd go have dinner and stuff like that. And so we were like watching week after week, but I swear it was out of order because I don't recall there being this real linear narrative that we're not that we're really following this overarching like story, but I remember it just being a bit here, there, and everywhere with the schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a long time since I have watched it, and I was kind of trying to think of like whether or not we really dove into the backstory. And I think this probably is the first instance where we're really getting anything from it.
Yeah. I'm really happy to get a little bit more information. And I think it's interesting also. It's very interesting this episode to see a little bit of everybody's inner perspective about like who they are and what they fear most in the world. And some of it's like kind of dumb, and some of it is like really rough. Like, you know, Buffy's fears is like, you know, she's not like fearless about being a vampire slayer. Like she is worried about what could happen to her. So is Giles. He's very nervous about what could happen to her as well. And then her fears that like she is the reason why her family broke apart. And it's all like very interesting seeing this type of stuff, getting to know these characters a little bit better this episode. And then of course there's Cordelia, who is afraid that she's going to get taken away to be Amish. But so, you know, here, there, everywhere.
Yeah, I really liked like, I mean, I thought they did a good job of seeding in. Sorry if you hear Winston in the background. It's his birthday. He's allowed to be loud. I thought they did a good job of seeding in like what Buffy's fear would be at the very top of the episode. You get the vibe that like she says, oh, you know, I'm sure me being a Slayer and causing problems like didn't help their marriage. So you certainly get that like insecurity that is, I think most children of divorce, I can't speak from experience, but like I feel like at some point or another, every kid feels a little bit like, was it something I did? Especially if they're on the younger side when it happens. So I really liked them like having little breadcrumb kind of at the top of the episode. And I think it says a lot Oh my God. Sorry. Just burst into the room.
Happy birthday.
He burst into the room, and because he needs his nails cut, he did one of those like slippy slidey routines on the floor at the same time.
I'm trying to remember. I spent one of Winston's birthdays with him, and I was like, Winston is a very active birthday boy.
Yeah, he is. He's already gotten 3 toys today.
It was last year.
3.
Listen, one came in a 2-pack, or 2 of them came in a pack of 2. So it's not technically, it was kind of like 2 gifts. Anyway,
I see his tail smacking a plant.
Yeah, that's your plant.
Oh, thanks, Winston.
It's grown though. Hold on, look at you could see it has so many leaves now. It's really thriving here. I'm letting you know. It's fine. The people understand.
I know. It's a bird of paradise. I really want that plant back. Actually,
I will give it to you. Anyway, the point is that I really liked that. While we do get a little bit of like the Buffy being afraid of turning into a vampire situation, it felt like her bigger fear was the one about her parents and like her being the root cause of their divorce. And to me, Stuart, I really liked that choice because it shows that like, even though she is a Slayer and she could be afraid of so many things, like there are so many things that she could be afraid of. The thing that she's afraid of is something that is like so relatable to a lot of people and a very like human thing to be afraid of.
Yeah. Because like when the series started and Buffy was kind of resisting the whole like Slayer role, it was like, no, I want to be a normal kind of like teenager. I want to have normal teenage experiences. I mean, that kind of like was very kind of like surface level, what you would expect from that kind of like tropey kind of like situation. But then it kind of gets into this more emotional kind of level, and this would be what she is concerned about if she does want to have like normal experiences, because she still thinks of herself as normal. She doesn't think of herself as a Slayer first. She thinks of herself as Buffy first and a Slayer second. And so, of course, she's going to be more concerned with like kind of the real things that actually are core fears for her. And the fact that like her parents' separation being an anxiety of like her, like kind of her being the cause of it, is 100% relatable. Like I'm a parent of like, I'm a child of parents who have separated. And you do have those kind of worries, and not necessarily that you may been the cause of it, but that you could have done something to kind of help in any way, shape, or form and stuff. And it's just the nature of like guilt in the family unit that's kind of broken down. And it's like I kind of was there feeling for her. I was like, oh, Buffy, it's not your fault. Sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's better that people kind of like separate, because then you get to experience them at their best, away from negative kind of emotions, which is fantastic.
Stuart, I'm just curious, like, was it your fault?
Funnily enough, for this one, yeah, completely.
They're like, oh, Stuart,
we just need to get away from him.
If not for Stuart, we could have made it work.
Yep.
So then we get like Cordelia just being a fucking asshole. Like there's this guy, Wendell, who's just like looking out the window like a normal person does. And she's checking herself out in her compact, and she's like, you're in my light. I really
don't stand in Cordelia's light. Like, it's legit.
Can't. I was happy what happened to her hair
light
later in the episode. I was so happy. Although I will say, Wendell has a ponytail, and it's just so bad, and I hate it. And I'm so sorry, but it is so tragic. I hate it so much. It's like one of those like low ponies that looks like he should be in some like older movie where people had ponytails like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he should be in an 80s karate movie, like 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know. I Wendell seems a little bit weird. Like he has
an earring.
He has he dresses weird, he styles weird, and he has strange interests.
Yeah.
So I don't think that Wendell's a keeper, to be honest with you.
No. But we're in health class, and as fucking usual, you know what? I took a break last episode from trashing Xander too much, but back on the Xander slander train, baby, because this fucking guy, they're supposed to do this whole thing on active listening, and he demonstrated it with the fucking teacher the day before, and yet, you know what he remembers about it? The fact that she was wearing a fucking tight sweater. can't, you know what? I know he's just like a horny teenage boy, but like this character trope is just so disturbing to me that like his only personality trait is that he's a horny teenager, and it's too much. I can't. I hate him.
I
I
will
mean, it's
say,
shocking to come from Joss Whedon, right?
Very
Truly
fair.
shocking. I will admit that I did find it kind of funny that like he had no idea what was going on in class at all, and like Buffy and Willow told him, and then he did that like little like listening ears motion, and then the teacher's like, very good, Xander, like you know exactly what's happening today in school. Like I kind of thought that that was funny. That like made me laugh a little bit, because I don't know, like maybe I want more of that part of Xander that's just like a kidder and not like thinking that his teacher's sweaters are tight. Maybe that's what I want. I don't know.
Yeah, that part didn't bother me as much as the fact that like again, he can't notice anything unless it has boobs. Like it's
Yeah.
just so frustrating.
Very tragic.
Yeah,
Yeah, he can't even notice the child that is staring in the doorway.
Yeah,
Now,
this is this Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because if not,
okay, this is
remarkably
yes.
looks like him.
So like, yes, it is not. Well, hold on.
Yes, it isn't.
Yes, I agree. That is also what I thought, but no, I don't believe it is, nor is it the Anointed One.
Who he also
And-
vaguely resembles, because can we not have
Yeah.
two same-aged white boys with brown hair? Like, can we get a blonde kid? Can we get
Yeah.
a redhead? Can we get a kid that's not white? Can we get anybody that doesn't look exactly like the Anointed One? Because Sarah, I had the same issue with this episode where the first time I saw this kid, I was like, is that the Anointed One? Because I can't remember what he looks like.
Well, I thought it was, and like Adam was like, I don't think it is, and like it wasn't until the very end of the episode, because I like disagreed with him until I realized that I don't think it was, and then I still didn't know, and then I watched the episode again, and then I'm like, is it the Anointed One? Is the Anointed One Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Like, what is going on here?
I
Stuart,
was
did
a bit
you have this
confused
issue?
myself. Yeah, like I thought it was at first, but then when the kid started talking in this episode and didn't sound like a 40-year-old woman, I was like, oh, it's not that one. Because the Anointed One's voice is really strange to me. I was like really
It
freaked
is
out when I heard it
weird.
before.
But also, like, we see that vampires have like glamours, and I'm sure they can cover their voices to not sound like they're talking into like that microphone toy that is like that echoes. Maybe Stuart seems a little bit confused about the microphone.
Did you not
toy.
have those in Britain, Stuart?
And
Those?
There's a microphone toy. It was a big plastic microphone.
Mhm.
And when you talked into it, it almost made the noise like, do you remember when we were kids and you would like talk into a fan?
Yeah,
And it made that noise?
yeah, it had the little thing of plastic in it, like kind of almost like
It
a
was the
kazoo
same-
kind of like
Oh,
thing.
same sort of thing, but in a microphone.
Yes, we did have those. Yeah, and
Okay,
it's
good.
actually
Whew.
weirdly coming back to me, and I almost see the like plastic chunkiness to it as well.
Yeah.
So
like, in my
hefty.
mind.
yeah, you
microphone.
like, and you talked into it, and you're like, rah, rah, rah.
Well, every time I would do the song from Doug, do you remember the like ooh wee ooh killer
Yeah.
tofu? I used to
Yeah.
do that into the fan all the time. Anyway,
Gotta love the bees.
yeah,
um,
well,
you really do have to love the beats.
it just was confusing to me, and maybe I'm a dummy, but
You're not,
I'm a-
because I thought the same thing, Sarah. It took
It's
me, I will say
confusing.
I figured it out before the end of the episode, but like certainly they look very similar. I think they could have done a better job distinguishing between the two. But like, so Buffy, in another moment of like what I consider bad acting, Sarah Michelle Gellar drops her pencil like so obviously.
just like Katie and Mean Girls.
Yes, very Mean Girls-esque. And so the limit does not exist on how many spiders pop out of this textbook when Wendell opens it. And they're like tarantulas too. They're like the big fuzzy ones. And everyone's freaking out. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why? And they're like, they're all over him, like on his hands, on his bot. I mean, I don't even care about spiders. Like, spiders aren't a thing that like really freak me out. But if there's one on my head about to crawl in my mouth, I'm a freak out, you know?
I think tarantulas are pretty cute, but my issue always, and I said this in the other bug episode, it's the swarms element. I
Mhm.
hate swarms. So 1 or 2 tarantulas seems like a good time. Like 100,000 tarantulas, I hate it. Like, I hate swarms.
It's probably
Yeah.
wise. I think my fear with them is like, yeah, a couple is probably going to be tolerable. My fear of them is when I don't know where they are. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing worse than
You
like
just
seeing
feel 'em
like a big old spider in your home, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna like catch you, and then it like goes under a sofa or something, and you're like, oh,
Well, you
I'm
live
gonna
here
live in
now.
fear now.
Really,
I'm
I'm
gonna
like,
burn the house and leave.
for me, I'm like, if I don't see it, then I don't think about it. It's just I don't have problems with spiders like at all. Actually, like if I
They're
saw a
good. They
spider,
eat mosquitoes
Hmm.
and stuff. Like I
if I
like them.
saw,
They're
yeah,
friends.
if I saw a spider on a wall, like I kind of just like let it be because I'm just like I'm not gonna kill you. I don't care.
It's the
But
centipedes and millipedes, the ones with like a bazillion legs that I'm like, you don't deserve to live. I'm sorry. Like you don't need that many legs.
I don't really want to kill any bug, but
Do you
somebody
actually have
else.
those?
You don't have those
You ha-
there?
No.
You don't have the water. What are they called, Sarah? Water or something or others? Earwigs? Earwigs? I don't want to
Yeah,
Google it. 'Cause I
earwigs,
don't
I
have to
think.
look at it.
Yeah, but
They're
we
always in
don't
the
have
bathroom. They're
millipedes
always
and
near water.
centipedes. Oh, the
Yeah, we-
silverfish things.
Silverfish. That's it.
Yeah. No,
They're
we got
horrible.
those like really teeny tiny kind of like little things and stuff. But, like centipedes and
Those
millipedes.
fuckers can
Oh.
be big, Stuart. They could be like 2 inches long.
Oh, we don't have those. No, oh jeez.
Ugh.
I
I
mean,
don't even want
we
to.
don't even have like any predators over here. Like, I think the biggest thing we have to contend with the badgers, and despite what Aiden may say about them, they're actually not that
I'm
bad.
so sorry. The biggest thing we have to contend with is the badger.
Yeah.
Do you guys not have bears? What do you mean?
No bears. I like the biggest probably creature that we have are deer. And
Oh,
even
oh,
then,
I
you can just
hate
like
deer.
scare them
How
away.
did the deer get on the island?
What island?
Wait.
Oh, England?
Do you think
Yeah.
that
They
all
probably
animals
lived
that came
there.
here swam from somewhere else?
No, I
Sarah,
don't think that.
England existed
Okay.
first.
I
England
think that
existed.
it probably it's like the Pangea shit. It probably like broke apart and there's some
Yeah.
There were some
random
on
deer
one.
that made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, as this all happens, as the like spiders start crawling out of the textbook, little fucking Billy, creepy Billy goes, "Sorry about that." I fucking can't stand this. Why does every show take a tiny kid and make them creepy? It's too much.
This kid is extremely cute though. He's not creepy. I just thought that he was the anointed one. And as we know, I am very pro Daddy Vamps and the
Right.
anointed one. So
Yeah.
I was like, finally, he gets to be a free anointed. He's
Yeah.
anointed to be free. But yeah, like I mean, kids are creepy. Like that's why The Shining has those twins and they're very creepy.
Yeah. It's just I can't. So then we're in Daddy Vamps' lair. And this is when I realized, okay, not the same kid because this is the
No, I
anointed one.
still thought it was the same kid.
They do look a lot alike. But the master, basically, he's teaching him some lessons, Stuart. He's saying, listen, like we're defined by things we fear. This whole episode is about fear and nightmares, obviously. And he's talking about the cross. And he's like, yes, it's like, it's pain, but it can be controlled. If I face my fear, it can't master me. And so he touches the cross and it burns him. This motherfucker, this is his kink, Stuart. He's just like, oh yeah, it burns so good.
Yeah. What about this like character makes you think that he's not into this kind of weird, freaky shit?
Yeah, it's true.
Like he is
nasty.
like he is stuck. Can't like get out from where he is.
3
for,
score,
like,
Stuart.
3 score. What are you gonna do with all that time? Doesn't have the internet. He doesn't have like people visiting that often.
Sure, he's just gonna touch the
He's
cross and be
getting
like,
some
oh, it's hot.
weird shit. Yeah, he's gonna be like, oh, but not that hot.
How long can I touch this before it hurts too
Uh-huh.
much? Yeah, this was very funny to me. But it felt grosser to me, Sarah, because there was a kid present. I was like, not in front of the child, Daddy Vamps. Save this for when you're alone.
Look, I don't know what goes down in homeschooling. But they always said that they were weird.
And he's like, oh, but there's change. Something is happening above, which I guess is like Billy and all his shit that he's accidentally inflicting or whatever. But Colin is like, yeah, I feel change. It's like so creepy, the little anointed fucker.
I really hope,
feel it.
you know how in the movie Hook, Jack becomes like just like Hook, and he gets like the costume and the wig and like the little, they're about to like chop his hand off. All I want in this world is for Colin to be like, okay, like here's my little leather jacket that I'm going to wear and my press-ons. And
Well,
like,
he also doesn't have ugly vampire face either.
well, I mean, like, who knows? Like, maybe he has to like get a special ceremony, and then Daddy Vamps comes along with the freaking razor shaver and is like, all right,
Teeth time.
Oh, that I didn't even think about that. He comes with the nail file too and starts shaving them down. I just hope that he like hooks it and he just makes him like a mini me.
That would be
And-
so fun. Very Austin Powers.
Makeover.
I love that.
And the 90s loved a makeover montage.
Is it
It's
too late to
possible.
ask for a rewrite? Like,
It's
Do you
totally
think
possible to
that
happen.
we have to do the red leather jacket, or do you think that he can like do red to be like, you know,
But no, but I don't think Daddy Vamps wants to be upstaged is the thing. And I think a red leather jacket might do that. How long until the Anointed One gets to go in the blood jacuzzi? I don't think children are allowed in hot tubs.
actually you're right. Whenever I go to like a resort or whatever, it's always like a certain amount of age up.
Yeah, maybe it like boils their insides or something.
I think
It-
people just don't want a pissy hot tub.
Oh no.
That's so
Is that
fair,
it?
though.
That was the whole reason. I
Probably.
didn't know.
So yeah, change is happening for the worse. The camera pans up and we're at the drop-off station where Joyce is dropping Buffy off. And at least at the very least, you know, we don't have a ton to go off of as far as Joyce being a mom, but she does notice that Buffy's been like really quiet. And she's like, you were yelling in your sleep. Do you know what you were like dreaming about? And she says, no, but it's her father's coming. And Joyce is like, this is where I was like, okay, I don't know what's the deal is with Buffy's dad, but he feels a little flaky because Joyce asks Buffy, oh, are you worried that he's not going to show? And I'm like, has this happened before? Because it feels like it probably has, Stuart.
Yeah, I'm getting the vibe that like he is a kind of like dad by like obligation, really, and is just going to be like, yeah, I'll be there, and then work came up, and then just doesn't ever make the time. And I think Joyce is probably there making probably excuses quite a lot, and is probably getting it to the end of her tether with it, and it's just been like, yeah, don't put your hopes too high, kind of like thing, and probably sensing that Buffy's probably thinking the same, maybe.
Yeah. I feel so bad for Buffy. And she does seem distracted because when she gets into school, Willow and Xander are like, oh, did you ask Giles about the spiders? Like, have you talked to him yet? And Buffy just seems like very distracted about the entire situation. Sarah, it turns out Willow is freaked out by spiders. Xander, not so much, but he does say if there were a bunch of Nazis crawling all over his face, he would be really scared. So,
Which I feel like is really sensitive because we know that Willow is the Jewish one. So maybe Xander's Jewish too, but I don't know.
as if I needed another reason to dislike him, you know, it's fine. I can lump that onto the pile.
Why? What do you mean?
He's being insensitive.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Insensitive. Yeah. I totally misinterpreted.
Oh no,
what you were
not that
saying.
he's Jewish.
Same.
I'm so sorry. No.
I was like, Jessica,
Definitely being insensitive about
you
about
too
Willow.
are a Nazi clown. Jessica, out with you. Walk the
Oh
plank.
my god. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, I think that it's interesting once again that was one of the things that he fears. It seems strange, and also like as soon as he said, I forgot about it, but later in the episode we see like random swastikas, and I was like, what is happening here? And
Yeah.
then of course I was reminded that it's because he's afraid of Nazis. Well, we all are afraid of Nazis, Xander, but it's just so strange, so random.
Part of me wondered if it was maybe a way of like making Xander seem a little like more sympathetic, of like, oh, he doesn't like Nazis, therefore he's a likable character. But then I also was kind of reminded of like, obviously when this is set, and there's this whole like kind of emerging like ska punk kind of like musical like movement, and there is a kind of like a real thing in it of just like punch Nazis and like stuff like that, because there was kind of like the part of that kind of music scene that was into the Nazism and the fascism and all of that rubbish. And then it was like you had the actual like kind of more popular, I want to say like California scene that was just like, no, we're not going to tolerate that shit, and would like go out and punch them stuff. Maybe Xander's aligning to that. I don't know. It feels like a massive stretch. Why would you just throw them in and not explain it more? It seems like a really strange choice.
Yeah. But for once, Xander is not scared. He's just like, you know what? You're gonna slay him. Everything will be cool. NBD. Which, again, he reminds everyone for the 100th time in this season, it's Hellmouth. Welcome to Hellmouth. We're always on Hellmouth where strange things happen.
Where are we?
Hellmouth.
Oh.
Yep.
Does strange things happen here?
All the time. Every day.
Oh.
Every episode.
Where?
In Hellmouth, yeah.
Oh.
Sunnydale.
I don't think anything that strange happens. Maybe sometimes.
Puppets, but a very strange thing occurs when Giles they're in the library and they're like, oh, Giles was supposed to be like looking up what's the deal with the spiders. And he comes running out of the stacks and he looks so confused. Like he looks very disheveled and like confused. And Sarah, my first thought, and I don't know why this was my first thought, but it was, is I was like, oh, maybe it's because of Felicity and we've seen a lot of people making out in the stacks. Yeah. And I was like, Giles and Miss Calendar were fucking in the stacks.
Yeah, I said I had the same hopes and dreams, honestly.
I'm really upset that that's not what it was. Although a few episodes from now, it could totally be revealed that was what happened.
I mean, like he said that he was lost in the stacks, and I was just like,
lost in Miss Calendar is more like it.
Yeah, I really wish that that's what was going on, but it's apparently he really did get lost. Which is, once again, like such a weird fear. Like it's just so niche that it might be brilliant to have a fear like that. Just like I'm so afraid that I'm going to get lost in my own library.
Especially considering it doesn't seem to be that massive either. Like,
I mean,
doesn't
it's
seem to be
2
that
levels.
much depth to it.
It looks very round. Is this a rounded library?
I think so. I also enjoy how there's never anybody else in there ever. It's like they're probably on the verge of firing Giles because no one ever comes to the library.
Giles shoos everybody off whenever somebody comes in there for a book. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Get out of here!"
I mean, he's cooking the books on the numbers, definitely. Like he's there submitting kind of like lockouts and stuff like that, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, a lot of kids checking out loads of books here," and he's like, "Yeah." Definitely.
So many bucks. But the good thing is that now that he has Willow on his team and Miss Calendar, who is a techno pagan, now we can just fudge those numbers.
That's true. That's true. He can hack the system.
Edit the records, Ferris Bueller style, totally.
Yeah. So he hasn't found anything because he got lost in the stacks, but he says probably the best place to start is talking to Wendell, the guy with the spiders. So they go outside and they find Wendell. And like it turns out that he knows a lot about spiders. He says, I don't hate spiders. I love them. They hate me.
Just like me and cats. Yes.
Cats hate you?
Yeah, they don't like me.
Oh.
But I like them.
He does a very like, actually, spiders aren't insects, they're arachnids. And it's like, who gives a single fuck, Wendell? We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't need a biology lesson from Wendell. I just need to hear how he's intimate with his pet spiders. That's what I need to hear about.
Well, it turns out, Stuart, that apparently he had like a ton of spiders. He went to camp and his brother, and this is horrifying. Because I don't care about spiders, but like I don't want to murder them, His brother left the heat lamp on and they all just like burned to death.
I was getting like real Buzz and Home Alone vibes of like coming back and finding the tarantula's been absolutely like not cared for in any way, shape, or form from this. But like leaving the heat lamp on and like practically cooking these poor little things, that's barbaric. But also like, why does he think spiders hate him? Does he think that, like, does he blame that situation?
He blames himself. Because then he starts having nightmares after that where he opens a textbook and they come flooding out. So, like, this is a very literal version of his nightmare is what he went through the day before.
Does he think that there is like a telephone tree network, spider to spider across the universe, that all the spiders know that he is like 1 degree away from the spiders burning? Like, it's not like all the other spiders in the world know that he cooked the spiders.
Maybe he thinks there's a spider god.
Oh,
Maybe
fascinating.
they communicate via the web.
Yeah, probably.
Stop it.
I liked it. That was cute. That was so cute.
Oh my god.
But like, also, like, if you're getting haunted by like these spiders or like the friends of spiders, the ghosts of the spiders and stuff like that, and like all that they're angry about is because a lamp was left on and they got a bit cooked. Just get yourself a lamp. Like, it's
Yeah.
easy to deal with, apparently. They're not that difficult to cook.
No. Would you rather be haunted by a ghost of a spider or a ghost of a human?
Ghost?
Well, if it's a
of
ghost, they can't crawl on me,
human.
right?
I mean, a human can crawl on you.
No, I know, but if it's a ghost,
Yeah.
I feel like I'd rather be haunted by the ghost spider because the
Yeah.
worst part about it is the creepy crawlies and they can't crawl on you and
No.
a spider can't talk and I don't want a human taunting me.
No. Yeah. Yeah. I think I prefer ghost spider.
Yeah.
But you'll never get any answers if it can't talk to you. You can't have like the whole,
Oh,
why are
that's
you
bad.
haunting me? And it being like, oh, you're a bastard to me in life.
It's like, why are you haunting me? And it's like,
So you get out of it.
oh, Morse code. It can teach you. It can talk via Morse code.
You have to take the time to teach it Morse code first, I think, and learn Morse code yourself.
It's like
that can be montaged in the film. It'll be fine.
the spider is like, I didn't like my depiction in Charlotte's Web. It's like, oh, okay,
so-
spider. I'm sorry. It's not like I wrote Charlotte's Web, you freaking idiot. But anyway, what was happening?
So then this is where I got a little confused, I have to admit, in the show, in the episode. So Cordelia tells Buffy, oh, you're going to be late for like our history test. And Buffy didn't know there was a test. She hasn't been to class. She hasn't read any of the assignments. How is she going to pass? While she's like sitting there taking the test, like her pencil breaks and then she like doesn't even get to fill in her name before time is up because time is flying. I got really confused because I thought this was Buffy's nightmare.
Yeah, it is.
Which I guess it is, but then I guess she gets multiple nightmares. Then I thought
So
it was
did
going to be like
Giles.
I thought it was going to be,
and so does Xander.
I guess I got confused because when I like in the middle of the episode, I was like, oh, I thought each person was only going to get like one nightmare
No.
apiece, but
Plenty of
this
nightmares.
does seem, and I knew what was going on as soon as this started because I was like, first of all, why is Cordelia talking to Buffy? She didn't give a single fuck about Buffy,
Mhm.
you know? So that was a little suspicious. And then I have not even studied. I've not even prepared. Stuart, this is actively one of my nightmares.
Oh yeah, completely. There's nothing worse than that fear that like you turn up and be like, there's a test that's like actually important you've like not studied for. The one thing though that I have to ask about this, why do they always write in pencil? Do you all write with pencil until
When I was
like
in
high school?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my! We were like forced when we hit a certain age. I think it was like 10 or so. It was like you will write in pen, you will never write in pencil ever again. And it was like a serious thing. I don't know why.
Even for math?
Yeah. For everything.
That's fucked. Telling a student not to be able that they can't use a pencil for math? That's horrifying. I feel like even when I was into pen in high school, Sarah, I still was doing my math in pencil.
Yeah. No, math and pencil, absolutely. I mean, we always had to carry around pencils because if it was a
Oh, the bubbles.
Scantron test, then we needed pencils for that.
Stuart, do you have Scantrons in the UK? Do you know what that
No.
is? It's
Your
like
your obsession with multiple choice is wild. All of
Yeah,
our
it's-
tests were like, if you had to answer something, it was like, yeah, you write out the actual answer to like the math equation or what the answer was and stuff like that. Or it was like, write a paragraph. We were never lucky enough to have multiple choice on anything. And I'm really kind
Wow.
of like jealous because I like the idea of like you get to the end of like the time limit and they're like, oh, you've got 1 minute left and you've got like 20 answers left. You just go,
Bubble
oh,
them all,
Sonnet,
yeah.
B, 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 B.
Yeah. The answer is always C if you don't know the answer.
Yeah, that's what they always said.
That's probably why I failed.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's totally an opportunity to just guess and just like go bloop 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 bloop, fill it
like
in.
statistically, it'll work out. Like,
Make
surely you can get at least a
designs, yeah.
quarter.
No, when I had like a short answer or a fill in the blank, I was like, this is my worst nightmare. Oh, worst nightmare.
There you go.
That wasn't my worst nightmare. I have had this dream before though, of the like, mine has taken place in college where it's like, oh, I didn't show up to like a university class all semester and you have to go and try to drop the class before the deadline, stuff like that. I have been having this reoccurring dream where I have to move out of my dorm room recently. Like I have to like pack up my dorm room and like
maybe it's just
out.
the PTSD from moving the last time you had to move.
I guess so, but like I'm very like my current obsession in my dreams is just moving out of my dorm room. And it's just like it's so bizarre because it's just like one of those things like, why am I dreaming about this? Like I'm so far removed from my dorm room, but I guess
I mean, I still have dreams as recently as a few weeks ago. I still have nightmares of being in either like most of the time it's high school and I'm lost. I'm like lost in the hallways and I don't know what my schedule is. So I don't know what class I'm supposed to go to next. And I'm just like wandering around and I'm going to be late. It's so
bizarre.
It's kind of a good thing though, like now at least if you have like the school-based like kind of dread dreams of like, oh, I haven't done the homework or I've got a test or something. Because now you can wake up and be like, that's not real. I don't have to face that reality.
Yeah.
Instead, I have bills and adulting to deal with, which is a whole different horror in itself.
Yeah. But when Buffy like looks up after everyone's like handing in their tests, she sees Billy again, the little boy, just like standing there. And I feel like, okay, this is the moment where you have to be like, this kid, who is this? And like, why is he here? And he's sketching me out.
I was like, it's the anointed one. Duh. I figured it out. He's coming to take his revenge.
So yeah, we see these two random girls that we don't know, so we know one of them's gonna die. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna go take a smoke break. And she fucking goes into the basement of the school. I was like, you're just asking to get caught, bitch. Why are you smoking in the basement?
I just don't think that I would go in the basement. That like really seems like a bad idea. And I think I was worried about explosions. I don't know why. I don't know what's flammable in the basement, but that's what I was concerned about.
Well, it's also there's no lights down there and it's really creepy and spooky, but she just lights up a cigarette, no big deal. And then we see, I mean, honestly, this man to me looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin if half his face was burnt off.
Oh.
Like a Two-Face version of, is that Two-Face? Is that the guy from Batman?
Yeah.
Like a Two-Face version of Stone Cold Steve Austin with a potato for an arm.
I totally didn't consider that at the time, but as like someone who was brought up watching Stone Cold Steve Austin, I kind of see it now.
It's there, right? It's just a bald, hulking white man. And he comes over and he's like spooking around the corners, you know, just hanging out. And he comes up and he just starts attacking her. And like, I don't know what is up with his arm. I don't know that we ever really get an answer. It looks kind of like there's like, instead of a pirate where they have a hook for a hand, he has like a club. Yeah. But to me, it really looked like a potato, like a big ass potato.
No, his name is Clubby. It was a club.
It's like it's a monstrous baseball bat, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's it's attached to his body.
Yeah, but like it's meant to be like a monstery version, like of it, because he doesn't look like what he is the manifestation of later on, does he?
Right.
At least I hope.
That makes a lot of sense.
And he's so creepy.
You're
he says "Lucky 19," which is going to come into play later.
Yeah.
I loved the pan away to the poster of Smoking Kills though. That was just like top tier.
Yep.
Yeah.
The freaking dare propaganda right there.
Like, propaganda, Sarah. Smoking does kill.
Yeah, smoking does kill, Sarah. This is not propaganda when it's true.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know.
God. Well, Giles and Buffy
The
go
French,
to the.
the French
Go ahead.
smoke, and they're fine.
What? No, not on this podcast. We are not saying that smoking is okay because it.
I
kills you.
never.
It's
I don't think I
bad.
said
Then-
that.
They're not fine. They're
The
just
French are
ambivalent.
okay. Just generally speaking, the French are fine.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wild.
I will say when I did visit Rome and Greece, it was wild to me how much people still smoked over there. I was like not ready for it, and it was everywhere, and I was frustrated. So Buffy and Giles visit the hospital, and Laura is still alive. Apparently, deformed Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't kill her. She's still hanging in there. She just has, some bruises and bandage on her head. And they're like, they want to ask some questions, they want to get down to the business. It's like, oh, did you see someone? And she says, no, I've never seen anything like it. Which maybe she hasn't seen Stone Cold Steve Austin before.
Maybe she's never
Not
seen a
wrestling
club
fan.
before.
Or a potato.
I haven't seen anything like it. As if she can't just say like, gentleman coat, club for a hand. Like you can't
Yeah,
even
no
describe it
describers.
even like slightly.
She's
Like,
the
there's
worst
nothing.
witness, or, I don't want to say she's the worst victim. That seems mean. But she really has like no recollection. She's really not able to help almost at all until they're about to leave. And she says, lucky 19. That's what he said.
I mean,
She's
I
like,
will
that
put it
was
down to
weird.
head trauma.
Oh yeah,
Fair.
it could be
She
the
did
head
get beat with a
trauma.
potato. Yeah.
But yeah.
She was like, that's weird, right? And it's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. You're right.
So the doctor says she'll recover. She's got a couple of shattered bones and a little internal bleeding and BD. just a little internal bleeding.
I mean,
No
that's
worries.
fine. Yeah, no biggie. Should be fine.
But he does divulge that, the first one is still in a coma, and they find out, oh my gosh, wait, what? There's another victim, the same MO, but he is in a really bad shape, and like he's in a coma now. And the thing that drove me nutty was like, literally, we know who this boy is we don't have to see his face to know he is the kid. Like the hair, the size of him, but they don't even think to go in and take a gander at the boy.
I did wonder about this, but then I also did remember that pretty much every young boy around that time did have the same Jonathan Taylor Thomas
Haircut.
haircut. So yeah, like
Mhm.
maybe they just assumed it's just it's a generic little white boy.
Why don't you just go in and take a peek? I was so annoyed. I was like, we all know that's the kid.
I mean, in my mind, it could have been a third kid, to be honest with you. Another brunette boy. I had no clue.
Yeah.
There's so few of them in California.
that could be true, yeah.
Then we're like the next day at school, Willow and Xander are like chatting about like, oh, we wonder if it was Laura's nightmare to be like beat up. Like, what's the deal with that? And simultaneously, there's this other random guy and his mom, like, and he obviously is supposed to be like a cool kid because he's wearing a leather jacket, as is the rest of his like cronies, and he has sunglasses on inside. So obviously, we know he's supposed to be cool. And his mom just comes up, oh, there's my baby, and she like kisses him and stuff.
I do like that now we get to see some like silly fears. It's not all like people getting clubbed and like Nazi clowns. Like it's also Cordelia's fears is hilarious to me. This guy's fears is kind of funny. Like people seeing like who he really is or like where he comes from and that he's not like a cool guy. Like I liked how it varied, even though like the stakes feel so you know what I mean?
Disproportionate.
Thank you.
You're
It just like really was funny to me how it varied.
Yeah. And it like we lead right from that into Xander's nightmare, which again, some of these feel very tame when you compare, like my mom showing up at school doesn't feel equitable to like some of the other ones. But Xander's, I mean, is sort of a pretty bad nightmare of like being in front of the entire classroom and he's in his boxers. So he's not naked, which seems worse.
Mhm.
But you know, he is in his boxers.
But who knew? You know?
Who knew what? Who knew? Ew! I can't. I can't. Ew.
I bet that he is a very hot old guy now.
He's so no.
Does
No,
anybody
remember
have
he got
any
into
idea
like
what this
legal
guy's-
trouble. He got into legal
really?
trouble.
Oh,
Someone
I
said
didn't-
that.
What kind of legal trouble?
I don't remember, but I don't want to Google it
Xander
just in case I
from
spoil myself.
Buff-
Don't you dare Google, Sarah.
I just want to know what his.
I'm allowed.
Stuart is already Googling, obviously.
I'm
hot now?
allowed. I've seen
hot?
it.
Is he hot?
Is he hot now, Stuart?
Is he hot?
Is he hot now? I don't think Google answers that.
Oh no!
Oh, well, considering the first image result comes up as a
It's
mugshot.
the mugshot.
No.
Yeah,
Oh.
as I said.
well,
No.
Prescription fraud. Oh, bad.
he's not hot. Like if he was on. Wait, is he a twin? Oh no, there's two of them.
There's-
We don't need more of him in the world, you know?
There's two of them. Oh no, this is my worst nightmare. All right, X out of it. Go.
Yeah.
But
So
now I'm
suffice
like,
it to say he's a terrible person.
I'm confident we're going to get like a clone episode now.
Oh
with,
yeah, knowing he's a
Xander.
twin
Now
brother,
that I know he's a
certainly.
twin, yeah, oh no.
Certainly.
Oh no, I can't believe it.
So he is like in front of the entire class in his boxers, and he's like, oh, it must be a dream. And he's like pinching himself, which again, like this should be as if we weren't being signaled enough that like these are all nightmares. It's like should be super obvious at this point. And poor Giles. I feel like Giles has it worse where he can't read. He can't read. He's a librarian and he can't read.
That
really
is-
funny.
that is pretty. It's funny. It's very tragic. It's his worst fear.
He normally knows 5 languages.
Well, now he's a freaking dummy like the rest of us. Welcome to the
real
dumb
Giles.
world. And he gets so frustrated.
Well,
He-
wouldn't you if you suddenly couldn't read?
I barely can read now.
Okay, but Giles can read, and he's a watcher, and he needs to be able to read.
I can read, actually. I'm a very good reader. I used to read a lot.
Okay.
I still
mean,
do.
I wasn't doubting that you couldn't read.
Yeah.
Just in case that was.
Have you just
Um,
been faking it this entire time?
Yeah. What is Buffy? I don't know. What does that
Buffy. Oh, Buffy. But they look at the paper, and it turns out that the first victim, Billy, was found beaten and unconscious after his Kitty League game on Saturday. So he's been in a coma for a week, which not great.
That is rough.
And so they talk about like, wait, how are we seeing him then? Like maybe it's an astral projection of his body, like it's not his real body. But yeah, they're trying to figure out what the hell does Lucky 19 mean? Is he wearing a jersey that says 19 in this? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. I think this is astral projections is a pretty cool subject, and I think I wish that they kind of dug into this a little bit more in terms of like how is this happening, like what's the circumstances, like maybe some of the logistics of it. Maybe I needed some lore from Giles about astral projections, but he can't read about it, so he can't tell me. So I missed it. Like I would have liked to hear a little bit more about it.
Well, if you'd like a British person to explain to you what astral projection is, it's a 9th level spell in Dungeons and Dragons,
Oh,
lasting time of about an hour, and you can it's a very difficult spell to do, obviously, which is probably why this kid isn't doing it.
oh, he's not.
I don't think so, at the very least.
And what is it?
Like,
What is it then?
I guess just hellmouth weirdness. I mean, like in a way, it is astral projection, but like strictly speaking, if we're going to go D&D, it's not that. But I mean, could be like, is he
People
aware
see
that
him,
he's, like,
right?
out there?
Yeah, people
Is
can.
it him?
Can they touch him? I can't remember. Is he a ghost? You know what I mean? Like, can they? Because Buffy certainly
Anyone
can see
does.
him.
Yeah, and they talk to him, but like, is
Right.
it him or is it like just like a thought thing of him, or
I don't know that they
don't know.
explain it. But as they're having this discussion about Billy, Buffy's dad comes in, and obviously all of our like senses, our spidey senses should be going off because he's here early. He's supposed to pick her up after school, and he's like, "No, I need to talk right now. This is like a big deal. No, it's not your mom. She's fine. We need to speak privately." And like, this is so fucked. Like, I feel like Buffy, again, obviously, she's in a very like more fragile mental space with her father and everything. But I feel like your dad coming in and being like, "We need to talk right now," and then sitting you down and being like, "Well, the reason your mom and I broke up is actually because of you, and that was the emergency," like, should be a little bit suspicious, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where I was saying like I feel like she should know, especially after like the class thing.
And the boy, and yeah, they know a lot of information at this point.
Like, she knows a lot of information, but I'm just gonna say, like, it is the fact that like this is one of her like most sensitive fears is clouding her judgment a little bit in terms of like her trying to troubleshoot what's going on here. But this is so rough because this is an insecurity of hers. Obviously, it's a sore spot, and the fact that like she actually hears him say this is awful. Now, does anybody? So like this is just her internal fear. Like this is a manifestation of something that she's afraid of. This is not necessarily the truth. So it's not like her dad in any reality really thinks this, right? It's not like he has like a truth serum and he's telling the truth.
I think we find out later that like if they don't figure out the solution to like saving Billy and like getting him out of the coma, then all of that stuff will become real. Like that will become their reality. But I think this is currently like a nightmare, which is where I got confused, Stuart, because I was like, but wait, everybody is seeing Buffy's dad. So this isn't like an internal thing. This is actually happening.
It's happening, but everything gets undone once they fix it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the nightmare world is blending with the real world, really, and like kind of nightmare Buffy's dad, who weirdly still has the same awful hair as real world Buffy's dad.
His hair is terrible, right?
Well, I made a note. I wondered whether Joyce divorced him for the haircut alone. I think he'd be fully justified.
He just looks kind of like a dweeb. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, who doesn't love an entire outfit of just shades of brown? But the like the way in which like Buffy goes through all the stages of grief and straight to acceptance because it's that horrible. It's just so sad because like you would think that Buffy would be like, "No, I don't believe this, and I'm angry about it," and stuff like that. But she just goes straight to, "Oh," and like kind of taking it on the chin and be like, "Oh, it's brutal." I felt so sad for her.
Yeah, he says, "It was you, having you, raising you, seeing you every day. I mean, do you have any idea what that's like? You don't even see what's right in front of your face. All you ever think about is yourself. You get in trouble. You embarrass us with all the crazy stunts you pull. You're sullen and rude and not nearly as bright as I thought you were going to be."
That was the line.
Oh my gosh, that's so awful.
Yeah,
and Buffy says, "Why are you saying all these things?" And he says, "Because they're true. At least that's the least we owe one another." And she cries. And he also says, "Oh, it's not very mature to get all blubbery when I'm being honest. And also, I don't get anything out of these weekends. So let's just not do them anymore."
Rough.
It's so bad. Poor Buffy. And she's like crying. This is a good acting moment from Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's crying. It's sad. And he leaves, and she's just like, "What the fuck?" And there's fucking Billy just hanging out.
Like, oh, there's that weird creepy kid. What's going on?
So meanwhile, Xander and Willow go to see Giles, and they're like, "What's going on? Like, we need to talk. Where's Buffy? Why aren't you wearing clothes?" You know, the normal questions.
Giles has got his priorities in order though. It's like they come and like talk about the problem stuff. He's there just making a pot of tea. And I was like, Giles, way to keep your head in the game. That's how you deal with problems.
Hot beverages.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're talking about like, wait a minute, that means all of our dreams are coming true. No, not dreams, nightmares. And they're like, why is this happening? It's Billy.
It's all
I love
Billy's
Giles just
fault.
saying Billy.
It's all Billy's fault. Billy fucked it up.
Yeah.
Damn it, Billy.
Yeah. So they're like, well, we need to fix this because soon everyone on Hellmouth, everyone in Sunnydale is going to be having their worst nightmares come true. Cut to Cordelia, whose hair used to be so shiny, silky smooth, is now like tangled and frizzy and awful.
Yeah.
Giving
It,
Hermione.
it really is the horrors of horrors. That her Brazilian blowout has failed and now she's a frizzy mess. It's terrible.
Wish this was my worst nightmare. Like, wow, what a lovely life you must lead, Cordelia, where this is your worst nightmare.
Yeah, I mean this and the other the second part where she gets carted off for being Amish. Like obviously she has a very entitled life.
She
That
wasn't
these are-
being carted off for being Amish. She's being dragged by the nerds to go play chess.
What?
The nerds were dragging her to go play chess
No.
because that was her nightmare, is becoming a nerd. It was
No,
like she had
no,
started.
no.
That's why she was
Where did
dressed
you
like
get
she
the
was. She wasn't
Mormon
Amish. She was
thing
just a nerd.
from? Or Amish.
No,
Yeah.
I swear to goodness. I swear that they said I'm not even Amish. What'd she say?
What? We'll see when we
I'm
get there, I
sure-
guess, because I don't
I'm
remember
sure she
that.
shouted, "I don't even like chess,"
I'm not Amish, I swear.
but I kind of like both options. I'm not. Gonna...
I thought that you had to be kidding me.
Well, we're gonna wait and see what happens when we get to that part because I don't know which one of you is right, but I have an inkling about which one of you is right.
Well,
Meanwhile,
wait, it's not like they're afraid of offending the Amish. The Amish doesn't even watch Buffy. They don't even get TV.
Oh my god. Buffy follows Billy. She's like, huh, this little creepy boy's still hanging around. Okay, let me walk around. And she meets up with him. She finds out he actually is Billy. And she says, why are you here? Did something bad happen to you after your game? And he says, I don't remember. But she knows that he plays second base and that he's lucky 19. And he says, that's what he calls me. So apparently, deformed Stone Cold Steve Austin he nicknames him the Ugly Man. I kind of like my name better, Billy, but whatever. He's a child. I guess we can't have high expectations for creative naming.
It's not allowed to watch wrestling yet.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he's too young. And he says he wants to kill me and he hurt that girl. But he doesn't have time to tell Buffy why the bad man wants to kill him because he's here. And here comes Stone Cold Steve Austin with his potato arm and just smashes Buffy with it.
Yeah, and Buffy, unlike normal, she can't really keep up with him. Like he's too strong and powerful, and she's not able to overtake him and has to run away, which is unusual. We don't really see that often.
Yeah,
And she proper limps away from it. Like she gets her ass handed to her a bit. Like she's like eats shit on the bleachers. Like it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe she was just like so confused by his weird potato arm.
No,
She didn't know
it's
what to
not
do.
that. It's that he's a big, strong guy.
Yeah. Well,
She's sad.
yeah,
she's
she is
depressed.
Then we get the trio of Willow, Xander, and Giles. They got to go find Buffy. And Buffy is still trying to get information from Billy. She locks the ugly man in the gym and she's like, Billy, what is going on? Like, who is this man? What are we doing here? What's happening? And he's like, okay, we have to hide. That's how it happens. We hide and then he comes. Horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
That's nightmare fuel in and of itself.
Yeah.
And then this is where we get the Cordelia situation happening. Okay. Cordelia says, no, you don't understand. Also, she's dressed in like a very different way than she usually is.
Like
She's,
the Amish would.
Cordelia says, and I quote, no, what are you doing? Hey, no, you don't understand. I don't want to go. I'm not even on the chess team. I swear I'm not. And there are two very obvious nerds because they have glasses and like checkered pants and sweater vests. It's obvious that they are supposed to be nerds, and they are dragging her to chess club. Sarah,
I like
not
my version better.
Amish country.
I didn't. I swear to God, I thought that she said Amish.
Maybe it's an Amish chess team. Who knows? Like, let's
I
not
was just
like
using
take that away from them.
context I was just using context clues with how she was dressed, and
It
she
was a
got
very
carried
Amish
away.
outfit.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. There's a chess club sign on the door. She's not Amish, and she doesn't even play chess. So,
Again, very tame nightmare in my opinion.
yeah, I agree.
Oh my God, I have to play chess. Oh my God, the horror.
Willow thinks she hears Buffy, and she goes into the basement, which I would never do after a girl got murdered there like 5 seconds before.
Alone, Willow.
Yeah. That was not Willow's best plan. And we'll see what happens to Willow shortly. But first, Xander goes into a scary warehouse within I guess it's like a gym. I don't know what's going on. It's
definitely like in a building in disrepair. There are swastikas on the walls, which he doesn't seem to find that strange, which I find very strange. And then he decides, oh, hey, who cares about the swastikas on the wall? Piece of candy. And he is a literal fucking child. He follows a trail of candy bars as if that's not so fucking suspicious. How old are you, Xander? 5? I can't.
Yeah. I was like, is this some like Hansel and Gretel shit? Like, I was like, you were going to get snatched up by a witch and fed to the witch.
Mm-hmm. He hasn't been actively listening. He needs to actively read a fairy tale because like everyone knows, don't follow the trail of candy. It's bad.
And he's shoving it in his mouth as he goes. Like he doesn't even finish one candy bar before he starts the next.
Fully double fisting the candy.
A chocolate hurricane, is that an actual one or is that a made up one for this?
I've never heard of that before.
I haven't heard of that. I mean, he did get like a Hershey's bar. I really cannot believe I don't know where the candy comes into all this. Maybe because like killer clowns could lure kids with candies, sort of a thing.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, because the clown ends up being the nightmare. But as he's like carrying all this candy, we cut back to Buffy and Billy, and she's confused because she's like, wait a minute, this hall was supposed to lead to the library, but we're outside watching 2 people play baseball. And so she asks Billy about it, and he says, when you lose, it's bad. And he says, it was my fault. I missed a ball and I should have caught it. And he said it was my fault. And so Buffy's trying to figure out what's going on. Like, was it your dad? Who the heck was it? And there comes Stone Cold Steve Austin, just ready to tear their faces off. He just punches a random dude in the face. He doesn't care. Takes him down. So they push through a bunch of bushes, which then leads to a massive graveyard. So
it's like a D&D thing. Like I can totally see be like, okay, everybody, let's go through the bushes. And it's like you go through the bushes, and all of a sudden you're in a graveyard. And you know what I mean? Like it just is so D&D-ish.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's like it gives the vibes of when your table has been like playing City Dicks and you're running an hour over and you're like, I need to wrap this up and I need to get you to the end. You go through the bush and you're in the graveyard. And it's like, okay, and we'll just cut out the 3rd chapter of this story.
Yeah, so then we get to see Willow's biggest fear, where she is afraid of going on stage and being forced to sing opera. And
when she doesn't know the words, I think.
She doesn't know the words.
Yeah.
Oh, and she can't sing. So, like, is this like a legitimate fear?
Certainly. I think, Stuart, I feel like, wasn't it like just last wasn't it the puppet episode? She talks about how she can sing, but she can't do it in front of people.
Oh, yeah. Like, well, this is the thing, is I wonder, like, can she sing opera, though? Like, opera's a really specific kind of, like, thing to have a, like, specific fear about. Like, I guess it's, like, totally taking her, like, out of her comfort zone. Like, not only is it on stage, not only does she not know the words, it's in a genre that she's probably not going to excel at and stuff like that.
It's an Italian.
Yeah, it's very
Mhm.
specific, but it's also very Willow because it would be. I think she would have a really convoluted fear that just like, what if this happens? And it's like that will never happen. And then she's like, but what if?
Yeah. I do think it
And
fits
like,
her character very well, as do all of Xander's stupid fears. Where he finds the chocolate hurricane. Again, he's holding like 6 candy bars, all half eaten. Why? Why can't you just finish fucking one candy bar first, Xander? I can't. And this felt very, I mean, we're in what, 99? So like the timing feels right that like I feel like Xander watched it when he was too young, because the way they have the like plastic sheets hanging from the walls and out pops a clown felt so it to me. The movie,
Yeah.
the clown movie, it.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, if you don't like clowns, it's pretty scary. It's a clown with a knife, and I mean, like nobody likes clowns. Clowns are done.
Yeah.
clowns don't even like clowns. Like,
Clown, yeah, exactly. Buffy is walking around the cemetery, and she comes across with Billy a empty like a grave, and then like Daddy Vamps comes, and I was like, oh yes, see, the anointed one has brought her in. So I was still convinced at this point.
Yeah.
makes sense.
He is wearing a leather jacket, I will note. Daddy Vamps.
He is, he's so styling, but I guess
Mhm.
this boy has nothing to do with Daddy Vamps, and it's just another one of Buffy's fears. How does Buffy
it's
know what Daddy
interesting.
Vamps looks like?
That's what I was gonna say. It's interesting because like they've never met. And so Daddy Vamps is like, oh, you're prettier than the last one. And Buffy is like so confused as to how he's free. And this is like the logic of the nightmare world is he's free because she fears it. So
Mhm.
because of that,
Oh,
he says because you fear it, the world is crumbling, your nightmares are made flesh, and you have little Billy to thank for that. And Billy's gone.
oh
And
no.
why is he quoting Disney films right now, Stuart? Because he says a dream is a wish your heart makes.
The true nightmare fuel, Disney.
Capitalist mice.
Daddy
Yeah.
Vamps is a Disney adult, and this
Ew,
might
stop.
this might be the thing that I least like about him.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, now I just want to see Daddy Vamps wearing the like Disney
Ears.
ears
The mouse
and
ears.
vlogging about,
Yes.
oh, here's my plans for Disney World.
Daddy Vamps gets in early with
he
the fast
definitely
pass.
does the lightning lines too. No,
Yeah,
he
the
can't
fast
get in
pass.
early because he can't be there during the daytime. So he has to maximize.
No. I mean, now what they have to do is like months before you sign up for your place in line. So he's at the web signing up for his fast pass times.
Wow.
He's getting the
Ridiculous.
dinner reservation at Be Our Guest so that he can have the gray stuff.
Oh my god, I bet he has to get a suite when he books a hotel just so he could get
Yeah.
the jacuzzi to fill it with blood, so he has his own blood jacuzzi in his
Yes,
hotel room.
Mhm.
yes. And I'm sure that his preference is like do you think that he is a person that likes to stay at the animal kingdom resort, or do you think that he's
It
like
might be
more
too
of like
tempting to eat
a
them.
Toontown? Like, what do you think that he likes?
Like
Or no, what am I saying? He likes to stay at the big one, the Grand
Clarion Floridian, is that
the
it?
Grand Floridian, the fanciest one he can get. He's like, I deserve the best. I
He's
treat
like-
myself.
I think he might want to go for the best, but then if he's got a favorite like Disney film, maybe he wants to go for like the themed suite or something like that.
Yes, and
I
then
mean,
I
I
wonder
think
what-
this is from Pinocchio, right? A dream is a wish your heart makes.
No.
So we're thinking his favorite film is Pinocchio.
when you fall asleep, a dream.
Whose
is
favorite
a
film is?
wish.
No, it's Cinderella, I guess.
Yeah.
He loves
So
himself
he
Cinderella.
loves Cinderella because he too wants to stay out past midnight. He
Oh
doesn't
my,
want
you
to turn into a pumpkin.
He connects with Cinderella on a fundamental level.
The three could be the ugly stepsisters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh my god, wait, maybe
My God.
he's going to train the anointed one to be like his mice that dress him.
He just wants somebody to be his stylist.
He's gonna train the Anointed One to be, is it Gus Gus, right? Isn't that one of the
Gus
mice?
Gus.
Gus.
Yeah, he really just wants to go get his bippity boppity boo makeover.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. We've cracked the fucking code on this bitch. We have cracked it wide open.
Oh man.
Incredible.
Done.
Artwork here is done.
We can go now.
We can leave now. That's it. That's the end of the podcast. It's not gonna get better, right? I mean, we've peaked. This is it. We've peaked. So yeah, as he says this, he grabs Buffy by the neck and he throws her into the pit, into the grave. And yeah, he says, "Come on, Slayer, what are you afraid of?" And yeah, the lid slams shut and she's stuck. And he asks if she's afraid of being buried alive, which, like, literally, who isn't though?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there anybody who'd be like, I mean, unless you're like into it, you know, unless you're like into that sort of thing, I feel like most people are afraid of it.
It seems like it was like a kink. Like, whose
could
kink
be.
is like getting buried alive?
People who love vampires.
Houdini?
Some people do. Yeah.
Houdini was definitely into some weird shit.
I mean, yeah, definitely into bondage. Like, you can tie me up. Like, but like, you say like everyone's kind of like it's kind of being buried alive. I think that's like definitely true. But like, I think like Buffy's as well. Like this possibility, maybe like kind of seems like a cruel thing that vampires might do and stuff like that. Like, grim.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Xander is still being chased by the clown. He finds Willow and Giles and he's like, "We gotta run." And then he decides, you know what? Instead, I'm going to approach the knife-wielding clown and just punch him in the face. I mean, to great success, I guess. Like, he knocks the clown out. But like, if I saw a clown with a knife, I don't think I'd be moving towards it.
No, I don't think so either. But Xander
as
did
someone
it.
that as someone that resides in a capital city that has a spate and like knife crime, don't do that. Just hand over everything and just walk away.
Yeah. So they're like, "Okay, well, we need to find Buffy." And then they get outside and they look and there's like, when did a cemetery move in across the street? And this like CGI, whatever the fuck, it looks so bad. It's like a cloud of a cemetery.
It's
Cutting edge CG, like for the day.
Well, they find Buffy's grave pretty quickly, and Buffy's like hand reaches out and they pull her out of the grave. And horrible news, Buffy is now a vampire. She has ugly vampire face.
Tragic.
It's very tragic, but her nails do look really good.
Well, she hasn't been underground for 70 yet.
Right, yeah, they're very pretty. So she's very depressed. This too is one of her fears. She is worried that she is going to fail and become a vampire and get bit and become ugly. And they try to come up with like a way to stop this all. And they know it's to like beat the big bad club guy.
Yeah, they know they have to wake up Billy. And Giles, I love Giles approaching Buffy, and I know he's trying to be kind about it, but I love he's like, "Hey, can you just like hold it together long enough for us to wake up Billy?" And she's like, "I'm a literal vampire and I'm hungry." Like, I'm like, maybe you should cage up Buffy until you fix this.
No. She I like how she just like pulls her shit together and is like, "Yes, I can do it."
Yeah.
She gets a game
Inspired.
face on for this bit. Yeah.
The game face is just vampire face. Yeah.
It's a horrible game face. So they get to the hospital and like we see the doctor's hands are all messed up, which seems like that's probably his worst fear. He's probably like some sort of surgeon or something. And they're like, "Well, what are we supposed to do? Because we can't just like shake him out of the coma." But they see his like astral body or whatever the hell it is standing next to him, and they're like, "Billy, you have to wake up. You have to wake up." But of course, here comes Stone Cold Steve Austin coming down the hallway, getting ready to rage. And he says, "Oh, lucky 19." And we get more kicky punchy stuff, you know, as there's like wasps outside. Like this is like what is it called? Plagues, right? It like feels like plagues are happening.
Yeah, it's a plague. More swarms.
Yeah, no one likes this worm. It really looks like a potato. Like, I
Okay,
just
It
so
does.
here he comes. He comes to go do it. And because Buffy is a vampire now, she is stronger. So she is able to fight him. And
She breaks his potato arm.
Well,
Yeah.
once you break it, you are
Buy it?
done.
Oh.
You buy it, you're done. Yeah. So she pushes him against the wall, and he's kind of dead, and then he's very dead. I feel like all she had to do was break the potato and push him against the wall. That's not very
Yeah, he really didn't
crazy.
take much, it seems like. But she says to Billy, Billy, you have to do the rest.
Yeah. Like, Billy, you take it from here, kid. He's just like, what?
You haven't
What am I
been
gonna
through
do?
enough. I want to give
Yeah.
you more PTSD. It's your turn.
Ridiculous. Poor little Billy's there just having an absolute freak out. Been like, I'm looking at myself in a coma here, and I've got to go deal with this like Stone Cold Steve Austin looking mother effer with a giant club for a hand.
Yeah, and
It's a strange ask.
what he has to do is like pull the mask off of the ugly man, and that apparently solves everything, because as soon as he does, the world is bright again. He wakes up, and yeah, so they're like, okay, well, we have to get a doctor, check on Billy or whatever. And in comes Billy's coach,
What a twist.
and he says, oh, I come by every day. I hope he's gonna wake up my lucky 19.
So crazy. Okay, so what happened was this coach is too invested in Little League baseball and got mad at Billy for not catching the ball and beat this poor kid.
Great guy.
I still don't think I understand what happened though.
I think
I just said he beat the kid.
Like, is he
because-
the nightmare guy? Like, how did the
Yes.
nightmares start? Okay.
Well, no, we
I
don't
think-
know how they started. I just think it's some like weird hellmouth shit.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
like he gets angry with the kid, probably like hits him in like his anger. Kid goes into a coma, and then coma hellmouth fuckery comes up with this nightmare, and then
Okay.
like that whole like blending of like coma reality, nightmare reality, and whatever, like all kind of like melting together. But what an absolute
Gotcha.
d-bag to like, I know it's like
Yeah.
said in the show, but like
Yeah.
to blame a kid for like not catching the ball and stuff like that. Maybe like, change up the game plan that's led to you relying on this kid catching this ball for you to win. Like,
Maybe
put
don't be
who
so
on that one
invested in
bit.
kids sports.
Well, there's that as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that, like those parents or like coaches that were way too into it?
Okay, I mean, like, yeah.
I
My
feel like
little brother,
I don't
he-
really remember that happening, but I'm sure it did. It just wasn't
Yeah.
to me. So I,
Yeah.
selfishly, I
My,
don't.
my little brother used to play like football at the weekends and stuff like that, and there was those parents that we'd go like watch him play and stuff, and they would be screaming from the sidelines, and I was just there like sort of little cup of tea in a little styrofoam cup, just going, well, this is fun, just seeing adults screaming at children while they're freezing cold kicking a ball around.
And this
it's-
is what
it's
gives
just-
kids trauma.
I know, right? Expectations. God damn it, parents, if you're listening,
Yeah.
give your
Get
kids
it
some
together.
slack.
Yeah. And so as like Buffy, Willow, and Xander are kind of like debriefing about the whole situation, up comes her dad, and he doesn't hate her. He doesn't blame her for the divorce.
Maybe, or it's all on the inside and he doesn't share it.
Mhm.
Oh my
We'll never know.
God.
But how do you not ask if you're Buffy?
How do you not ask?
Yeah.
I don't think she. I mean, I think she would feel silly about asking. Like, I feel like she would be embarrassed and she wouldn't ask.
Okay.
But Willow
Mhm.
decides now's the time to ask Xander a question, and it's very important. Were you still attracted to Buffy when she had Uggo vampire face?
And the answer is yes, of course.
Of course he was. What a freak.
I fucking can't with Xander. I fucking can't.
But then saying that, we're judging him for it.
I judge him
Yeah,
for
Buffy-
everything he does.
Yeah, but you know Buffy's still got a thing for Angel.
That's true. And she
Yeah, but-
saw his ugly vampire face.
Mhm.
Okay, but he's not Xander is the thing. Xander sucks.
Yeah, but no, the
That's
point
that.
is that Buffy doesn't suck and Xander would still have a crush on her.
Well, he said he thought she was still attractive even when she was in vampire mode. I don't think Buffy has said that about Angel.
Because she still had boobs.
Exactly. That's what he cares about.
Probably.
Ugh, I can't with him.
Yeah,
But
he'll know
that's-
the color of her sweater, but he won't know anything that she's actively saying.
Yeah. Exactly. He's a visual person.
I hate
Mhm.
him so much. I hope he gets killed off at some point. I don't think it's going to happen, but you know,
You want
dream is a
Google
wish your heart makes, right? What?
Nothing.
That was our episode, Nightmares. I mean, I thought I liked the idea of like a monster that attacks mentally versus like obviously physically as well, but like it was more of a mental fuck. I like that aspect of it. Sarah, what about you? How'd you feel about this episode?
Oh, I really liked it. Yeah, I liked this episode. I thought that it was a really interesting concept. As I stated earlier, I just wish I kind of had a little bit more information about the astral projection because I think it's such an interesting concept, but they really didn't get into it. They're more focused on like what happened to the boy and not the supernatural stuff. So I think I wanted a little bit more of that, but I really did like this episode, and I think it's like a really unique topic. It's not your standard monster, this potato clubbed man that spews nightmares.
It really did look like a potato. It's not my. It would have been more effective, Stuart, if it was like a baseball bat. If that's what we were supposed to be seeing, it was way too club-like and less baseball bat-like.
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for, but like making it a little bit like kind of detracted, so it wasn't too obvious too early that it was a baseball thing, and then maybe you make the connection afterwards, like club bat maybe and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I mean, in terms of the episode itself, this is one of the stronger ones of this season. I thought, like it's I mean, it's better than I'd say the last couple. If we're gonna start,
I'm sorry, you're not jacked in, Stuart? Or you're not jacked in?
Absolutely not jacked in. But like in terms of this kind of story, I really kind of gravitate towards these stories. I was on the Who A podcast talking about a really kind of similar thing where basically they in Doctor Who where they talk about where they go up against basically their fears being manifested in two different like dream states and having to choose between them. And I've been toying with it in a D&D thing. So like the whole idea of like dreams and nightmares for me at the moment is like kind of really apparent and really kind of like around. So like getting to watch this and be reminded of this going on, it kind of gave me a bit of inspiration. I'm not gonna lie, but then also like kind of telling stories where trauma is the real enemy. Top tier. That's where the juicy stuff is.
It's true. Also now because I feel like we haven't super talked about it. I feel like we talked about it in vague terms, but like do you either of you have like recurring nightmares that like what if this monster attacked you, what would you have to live through?
Yeah, I think that like I had like this reoccurring nightmare about the basement of my old house that I lived in. It was a really creepy house. It was from like the 1920s. I've talked about it in other podcasts before, but like the people that lived there before us used to have seances in the attic, and they said that there was like a ghost named Jacob, and like I was like really afraid of the basement in particular because it was just like really, really creepy, and it was like a really big basement. And I think it would just I used to have like a lot of like recurring dreams about like things being found dead down there. So I feel as though the setting would probably be in that basement. And like a lot of the times like that also had to do with like the dreams had to do with like my dad who was like no longer with me, and it's like such an eerie feeling when like you talk with like a parent in a dream because in your head you're like this is not right. So like I think like I don't know for me actually like how other people feel, but for me I'm always like this feels like a zombie. Like, so I think it has something to do with that.
Stuart, what about you?
I've had one since I was younger that my therapist has just put down entirely to anxiety, and it's where I am like climbing through a weird obstacle course of like metal cogs, and then they start turning and getting faster and faster
Oh,
and
that's
faster.
awful.
And it's like I've had it, and it recurs. Like I'll have this at least once a year now that I'm like an adult and stuff. But when I was a kid, I was like having it like once every few months, and it's really strange. But like, what's really strange about it is that I am not kind of like dressed in what I would be normal clothes at the time. I'm always dressed like a weird Victorian kid,
Wow.
and I don't know where it's coming from. Like I've got like
That's so
high,
strange.
like I've got like high socks and like trousers that are like tucked into them. I've got a weird flat cap and a baggy kind of shirt that is like covered in soot. And I'm
Wow,
like, am
that's
I
pretty-
manifesting like a former life here? Was I like a child of the industrial area that got
Ooh.
caught
Sounds
in
like
like a
it.
machine accident?
Wow. I am very fascinated about past lives. I hope that we kind of dig into a past lives episode. That would
could
be
happen.
really, really interesting. I think
That would
it's
be.
fascinating, past lives.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I suffer a lot from nightmares, but like I'd say the one that reoccurs the most often, and I'm talking once a month at minimum, is probably how often this nightmare happens. Generally I am driving a car. I can't see whether or not my eyes are closed, or like it's almost like the vibe of my eyelids are so heavy I can't open them up. Like I cannot open them up. And it's always like hilly roads with snow and ice. And so I'm losing control of the vehicle and my eyes are shut and I can't control, which obviously like any crackpot, therapist could say, you just hate the lack of control, which is like, yes, me. Hi, nice to meet you. So yeah, like that's one of the worst ones. But as a kid, like if I was this age, like if I was in high school, it probably would have been more akin to what Buffy with the not knowing about a test. Like I used to have really bad nightmares the night before I took a big test. Which again, I should have known I had anxiety. Because I would grind the fuck out of my teeth and always dreamt I didn't have a pencil. So
Oh,
yeah.
just like Buffy in this episode.
Yeah, like I didn't have a pencil and I wasn't prepared, and I would be a lot of my dreams also involve being lost, just generally speaking. So yeah, not great. This one would get me. Like this, I understand why Buffy doesn't immediately jump to like knowing that Billy is involved, because like when something like that fucks with your brain, it like totally changes your perspective and like doesn't allow you to see clearly. So as much as we kind of said like Buffy should know, and we said last episode, Sarah, like people need to be listening to Buffy. Like I like that in this episode she's shown as being a little bit more like human, because she is like, she has like emotions and feelings, and like that can cloud her judgment in a very real way. So I really enjoyed this episode. I actually think it's like one of the better ones of the season.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. Great pick, Stuart. Great pick.
Stuart, how did you arrive at this episode?
I think it was the schedule, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it was here's
Oh,
Stuart,
wow.
when do you want to come on? I don't care, pick an episode. And I said, okay, here's the episode.
Sure.
Oh, okay, well,
How does
you know.
this date work?
You know.
But yeah, Sarah, do you want to know what the next episode title is going to be?
Yes.
It is Out of Mind, Out of Sight.
Interesting.
So are people just gonna start disappearing? Like
Oh,
if you forget
maybe,
someone,
like-
maybe they just disappear.
like the snap, like that Marvel movie.
Oh,
Have you heard of
yes.
it? Endgame.
Have I heard of the Marvel movie Endgame?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
that
I'm
niche indie film.
I think
What is the
it
guy's name? What is his name though that does it? I can't remember. It's fine. People are yelling at their podcasts right now. What is his, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why do I care? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That could be it. It could be it. This seems like another mind one though, like another like fucks with your brain sort of one.
yeah.
And it's the
Very
penultimate
fun.
too.
Ooh.
So
All
we'll see.
right. Well, I mean, do you think that everything is going to get settled with Daddy Vamps by the end of the season? I kind of feel like it
Yeah.
will.
he's the big bad. Of course it has to be. They're not gonna have Daddy Vamps going into season 2.
I'm
right?
gonna miss him, and I'm gonna just say, like, I really do think that, like, I wish that he just wins this war. And like maybe we can just find a new Buffy. I'm sure there's other Buffys, and then next season we can start it with the new Buffy. You know?
Is
There's
it like
only-
Doctor Who where they just
Yeah.
okay.
There's only one Daddy Vamps, but there could be plenty of Buffys.
Oh, actually, that brings me to a good question, Stuart, that we usually ask everyone who comes onto the podcast. At this point in the series, who is your favorite character?
Oh.
Or like, if you have a favorite character, who is it? Unless it's someone we haven't met yet, in which case, don't tell us.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to detach myself from like having watched it and know the whole arc of everything, and try and put myself as like up to this episode. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. I love Giles. Every time he's on screen, he makes me laugh. And it's like,
of course, you're going to pick the British character, Stuart.
But like, it's more like he's such a stereotype, and it's the odd scathing comments that get me, and like when he acts against his own type, like when they go into like in this episode, for example, when they go in to see Billy in a coma, and he tries shouting at the kid in the coma, I'm like, Giles, stop being ridiculous, but like I kind of love it. So yeah, Giles is gonna be my pick.
It's very fair. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Sarah, before we get out of here? Anything else you need to say about Buffy?
No. Excited to see what's going on in the penultimate episode.
All right. Stuart, what else do you have going on? Where can people find you?
Do I have something to plug? You can catch me every Friday. Jess and I are recording a new podcast, Talking Shit, where we talk all things Schitt's Creek. It's only just started. Episode 1 is already out. I think by the time you get this, we'll be gearing up for like episode 2. So go subscribe to that. That's Talking Shit. That's talking without a G, shit as in SCHITT. And then otherwise, you can find me online at Stuart Drinks Tea, where you can harass me on social media.
There we go. Of course, Sarah and I are talking Buffy and Felicity every single week, so that's where you can check us out. And yeah, we also covered with Stuart Best in Show, which another Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara team up. So that was a ton of fun. We got to talk dogs, our favorite dog breeds, Sarah's mistaken memory about who actually won the dog show. So that was a ton of fun.
We were also on the Lonely Boys podcast, and we talked about an episode of Gossip Girl, which was a lot of fun.
That show is unhinged.
Yeah.
Can I just say, like, I finished it because at that point I was like so close to finishing the show, I might as well have. And I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but like, they just fucking making shit up at the end.
Yeah,
they're just like, here you go. Here you fucking go. We didn't plan any of this. And I know it's Gossip Girl. It's not like Lost. It's not like a show where you're like expecting them to have an answer. Like, they're just writing into season 5 being like, who the fuck cares who Gossip Girl is? We're never gonna find out. We'll just get canceled at some point. No. They gave us an answer, but was it satisfying? Yeah. So go listen to that podcast.
Sounds like 2008 problems, Jess, if I've ever heard it.
I'm always late to these sorts of things. So yeah, go check that out. You can find us at Shit90spod on Twitter and Instagram, shit90spod.com. Send us some feedback. We love to hear it. And next week we'll get into some more Buffy. So until then, here endeth the lesson.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.